Molo Sanbonani, hello, how's it? Good morning, good morning, good morning. I know you've missed me for yesterday as we commemorated Sukkot, another Jewish holiday. Guys, you'll bear with me. There will be quite a few days, or a couple of 3 more days, where I will not be coming to you on the daily basis as usual, because it is the Yom Tov, in basically a succession of Jewish holidays that come at us thick and fast at this time of the year. But that being said, welcome to it. My name is Sihle Ngobese, aka Big Daddy Liberty. This is Vuka Nazo, your morning news analysis show where we break down the news day and give you the headlines you should pay attention to. With that being said, if you want to get in touch with us here on the show, it's easy peasy. Find us, of course, at our website at www.bigdaddyliberty.com. There, of course, you can also pledge some support. 100 Rand a month, guys, is definitely what I'm looking to build a base, a subscriber base of, and you can do that by going to the website, scrolling to the bottom, and pledging your support there on the various payment methods. Now, with that being said, let's get straight into those news headlines. All right, I take you now to Johannesburg, where a rather macabre and lugubrious story has hit our front pages. Appearing before court yesterday was a 21-year-old suspect who is suspected of having murdered 6 women and stuffing their bodies in a abandoned building on Sprint Avenue in basically Joburg CBD. Of course, those bodies discovered effectively by a caretaker in the building who was alerted by the ever worsening smell of decomposing bodies in this particular building. What a rather traumatic sight to befell as he then stumbled across these 6 semi-naked women as he obviously started looking for these particular bodies. The piece I read was in the News 24, which basically detailed the story in detail and gave the account as told by the caretaker who stumbled on these bodies and then alerted the police. The write-up going as follows. 4 of the bodies were found inside 3 different vehicles that were on site on that particular building to be fixed. 1 body was hidden under garbage behind the building. Of course, the 6th woman was stuffed inside a waste bin. That's according to the caretaker, who obviously chose to remain anonymous. He goes on to detail just how macabre the sight was, where he says, "I haven't eaten since Sunday. The sight of flies and maggots coming from those women's bodies torments me. I can't concentrate. The smell it's still here. It doesn't want to go away," he added, close quote. Now, the man believes the decomposing bodies were there for at least a month, end of quote. What a macabre sight to come across. And unfortunately, a one too familiar sight in this country, where perhaps in other countries, the idea of a mass murderer and the discovery of multiple bodies in one place, is a once in a lifetime or a rare occurrence. Indeed, the Americans right now, if you're a Netflix fan, are retelling the story of Jeffrey Dahmer, for example, the American serial killer who would effectively rape and murder individuals and then butcher their bodies in his flat. That's making a resurgence insofar as prominence in the news. Yet here in South Africa, in the news cycle right now, as has been the case a few times again before, another such serial killer, in a sense, type story is splashing across our pages, and a rather macabre one. Now, a 21-year-old suspect, as I mentioned, has been arrested in this particular incident, where the Gauteng police gave comment in the story saying the following. Of course, that's Gauteng police spokesman Brigadier Brenda Murudili having said, quote, "The police were called to the building due to effectively the foul smell coming from one of the rooms. That's when a body of a young woman was found. Preliminary investigations led officers to a 21-year-old man who was last seen with the woman in October," end of quote. Now, as I said, the police are busy and they're all over this one, investigating and have questioned this man who obviously led them to other bodies. And that particular man in question appeared yesterday before court for the first appearance. But here's my takeaway, and here's what I really want you to grasp here, because we've spoken about this before, and I want to bake it in. You are on your own. we are facing a horde, a mob, a marauding gang, if you will, of criminally intent, criminally minded, and violent criminals in this country. People who do not fear the state, the same state which is led by a hapless, useless asshat of a police minister, and a police which has in recent past admitted that it simply doesn't have the means, the ability to fulfill its mandate. It's that same police force, the useless, actually, let me rephrase. A police force that is led by useless political leadership and effectively just as useless and corrupt management, who are demoralizing the everyday police person who is making the effort. That police force that is going through that simply cannot look after you. Your safety is your responsibility. You have to take ownership, charge of your own safety. How do you do that? I've said this once, I'll say it again. Become safety and defense orientated minded. Become vigilant of your environment. Beyond being vigilant, take steps to protect yourself physically by getting trained, getting licensed, getting a firearm, and then training over and over and over, and building a network around you of defense-minded individuals who are also self-defenders. Let us, the faith, flag, family, and freedom type South Africans, take charge of our safety so that we can push back, stand our ground against vicious murderers and criminals like these. All right, I take you to Pietermaritzburg now in KwaZulu-Natal, where, of course, you'll know Jacob Zuma, yes, that's right, the former president of this republic, is prosecuting privately two individuals, a journalist, Karyn Maughn, and, of course, a prosecutor, Billy Downer. What is he prosecuting them privately for? Well, he's alleging that they leaked his personal private medical details, and thus Jacob Zuma is seeking justice. Lol. But in any event, you can read all about what's happening in court in the corporate media. For me, I want to take you outside the courtroom, where after that particular court appearance, Jacob Zuma, that same individual who you'll remember on the show I mentioned had just finished his 15-month prison stint. And correctional services had effectively set him free. After, of course, during that same prison stint, he was given medical parole, allegedly because he was gravely ill. That gravely ill individual was rather sprightly outside of court. Does this look like a gravely ill person to you? Yes, that individual was gravely ill, apparently. It's amazing what happens to individuals who are given medical parole, that not even just individuals, the political elites. Amazing what happens to them once their prison stints are over. Seems those gravely ill conditions just disappear. Magic. But in any event, that same individual you see dancing and jiving away there caught the attention of South Africans in the most, perhaps, inappropriate way, with remarks that he made. Jacob Zuma, that individual, when thanking his fans, also proceeded to thank them for the July riots. Yes, those July riots that saw 350 people dead, that destroyed the KwaZulu-Natal economy and wrought billions upon billions of rands of damage in this part of the world. Some of the most damage ever recorded of any riot and protest. That period of time, those rioters were thanked by Jacob Zuma for their support during his trial. Have a look at this.
Angazi ukuthi ke amacala ababekwe wona thini ngoba angwazi umthetho. Kodwa ngifuna nje ukunibonga ukuthi nabonakalisa ukuthi akekho umuntu ongadlalwa ngaye nikhona ningabantu base South Africa. Nikwenze lokho nakwabanye. Ngoba akufanele ukuthi abantu bathi mabephethe umbuso ebese befuna ukudlala ngawo badlale ngamandla abawanikwe yithina abantu base South Africa. Ngithi nginibonge nje kulokho ngoba namhlanje sengikhululekile. Ngimele nje mangithanda ukundiza ngandiza nje khona manje ngithi bheke phezulu sengenza noma yini engiyithandayo kodwa ke ngiyanibonga namhlanje kunibonga ke ekubeni nizile enkantolo.
Yep, there you have it. You've heard it from Jacob Zuma himself. Again, even thanking the supporters who caught charges, saying, I don't know what the charges are, but, because I don't know the law, but thank you nonetheless. Guys, no, it's simply unfathomable that you can have a former president say something like that when 350 plus people lost their lives. Others were murdered during that period of unrest and indeed rioting. It's simply unacceptable for an economy that lost 100,000 plus jobs. I saw billions of rands in damage in that period. It's unacceptable for him to say something like that. I mean, it shows you basically how politicians and the political elites simply view ordinary people, mostly poor people, as nothing more than fodder, as nothing more than human shields, effectively, for their own political ambitions, and especially for the ANC to appear with Jacob Zuma outside of that court appearance. Indeed, the chairperson, the KZN chairperson of the ANC, Usboniso Duma, appearing with Jacob Zuma should ring as concerning to any ANC supporter who's hoping to hold on to the province in 2024, where their support has already waned quite a lot. To do unpopular things like this beggars belief. So that this should be a warning sign to any of you who hold on to the belief that politicians care about you. They simply don't. To politicians and the political elites, you are nothing but voting fodder and indeed human shields. Your lives mean nothing to them, your property means nothing to them, and your freedom means nothing to them. Vote wisely in 2024. All right, folks, we end this episode of Vuka Nazo here. Let me know what you think about it. Pop me a comment. As always, I would do sit and read your comments at any of the social media outlets where you're watching this, whether it's on YouTube or on Facebook. If it's on YouTube, of course, all the information is down there. Facebook, all the way up there. With that being said, find us on our website, as I said, www.bigdaddyliberty.com. There, of course, you'll catch all our latest videos. And, of course, a merch store is coming very, very soon. And we also will introduce podcasting so that you can listen to the show at your convenience. With that being said, if you're watching this on YouTube in particular, remember to hit that subscribe button and, of course, the like button and the bell notification so that every weekday from 7 a.m. you're notified when Vuka Nazo is on your screens. Have a great morning, and I'll see you tomorrow.